Welcome to Friends Like Us. I'm Marina Franklin here for you. I'm with Evelyn Frick.
Evelyn Frick.
And it's a nice day, but it's pouring right now, which by the way, I'm happy about all of it. I don't know. I know we're freezing at the top. This will be our existence for a while until we find a new system. I know I've been saying it for a month.
It'll happen eventually. I have like the Ethernet. Like it's all like set up. So I don't know, like I think it is the platform.
Yeah, because I don't have any problems on any other platform. And
No, me
but
neither.
I did freeze on Zoom this week for like a split second and then it was all clear.
Oh, okay.
So I think I'm gonna go to StreamYard and cancel this melon thing, because I don't
I've
know.
used StreamYard before, and it's pretty good. It's worked well.
Yeah, it's about trying new things, Evelyn. It's harder when you get older. You're kind of stuck in your ways. You're like,
I feel like I'm already there. I don't know. I think like I'm 26 and like I feel like my girlfriend and I have been together 5 years. Like we've already kind of nested. So like anything new is like, oh, what is this?
ah. Well, if you're just joining us and you're hearing about Evelyn's nesting, which is great. I mean, hey, if I could have settled at 26, I would have. I really not settled, so you know what I mean, like
Yeah, yeah.
being comfortable,
Settle
nesting,
down. Yeah.
definitely nesting. And if you're just joining us, we do this on Saturdays. We've been off for some time, but we do this to promote the Friends Like Us podcast. And I seen some of you missed us. I saw some comments that they were bored without us.
Oh wow.
And also, I'm sorry about the freezing that will happen. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I can apologize anymore, but you can hear us. So
Yeah.
just remember, the audio don't stop nothing. The audio don't stop no show.
Mm-mm. I
So
think you still see
Evelyn,
us pretty well. I
yeah, you
think.
can see us. Evelyn, how you been? What you been up to?
I'm good. I'm good. Well, I'm good now. I had COVID for the first time like 2, 3 weeks ago.
Ooh, how was
Now
it?
it was fine. It was like super mild. I've heard anecdotally from people that like this latest strain isn't like you don't like cough a bunch. It's mostly just like a sore throat and some like a stuffy nose, which is what I had. I didn't even really have that high of a fever. So it was fine. I did it. I survived. And now I feel like I'm trying to like make up for lost time at the end of the summer a little bit. Like Sophie and I, like we went to the beach last weekend and the weekend before that, which was really lovely. And yeah, trying to get out and do things before it gets really chilly with the fall. Although it's like we've had this heat wave in New
I
York that
know.
I'm over.
And now it's a storm outside. It hasn't reached you yet, huh?
Has not yet reached Brooklyn. I think it's supposed to. It's supposed to be like rainy all next week in New York, which actually I do love. I love like a, end of summer thunderstorm. So,
I love anything that stops the sound system that they put on the block party in front
yeah,
of my
yeah.
building. That I love, because they
Yeah.
have they were setting up. They were ready to go, Evelyn.
Oh,
I saw them getting ready.
at what time?
It was like 10, 11, 10, like 11-ish, and I saw
That's
them
still
getting ready.
early.
It's too many. It's like, okay, we've had a block party just about every. I get it.
Yeah.
We need community stuff. Hello, all you beautiful people. Hello, Stace.
Nice days.
Did you hear that?
I did hear that.
It's thundering. um, and so they're probably like running inside. I do think the community needs something in Harlem every week just to sort of bring people together.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always have to be like loud ass music. That's my issue. And it's not at a decibel. That's the thing. I pay attention to the decibels.
Yeah, yeah.
Decibels
It's
way
true.
up. There was a
Yeah.
guy one week, he walked by as I was going to the farmer's market like 2 weeks ago. I think we weren't live,
Yeah.
and he was like, "Not again." I
That's
was
how I
like, "I'm with
feel.
you, dude."
I just, yeah, I don't think I should, like, I agree. Like, I'm totally fine with like community building and like music and stuff, like in the in neighborhoods. But like, I shouldn't be able to feel your music, like if I'm inside and it's so loud outside that it's like vibrating my building.
Yeah.
That is when I start to have problems.
Yeah, I mean, I think my neighbor closed the window to our hallway. We usually leave a window open
Yeah.
so that the air ventilates through the hallway because I've been doing that since COVID. That's just my thing.
Yeah. Same.
But you can hear the music coming through that window. So my neighbor has shut it, and I agreed. I was like, "Yeah, shut that," because it's
Yeah.
like we don't, it's like okay, you want to have a block party, but every week, and it's really like I know it's strategically, it's the bar promoting their
Yeah.
business. It's not really about us. It's not about community. It's about their pockets,
Yeah. Yeah.
and there's just better ways for them to advertise their bar. And I just feel like the bar is not the most important thing in a neighborhood, in a black neighborhood anyway. The most
Yeah.
important thing is to make sure people have health insurance, to make sure people have mental health uh, access to it, affordable housing. All those things can come there too, and they do. But I
Yeah.
just think that's the most important thing as far as I'm concerned. So
Totally.
let the
And yeah,
fifth.
the fact that it's coming from like a selfish place is it's not the best.
Yeah, coming from a selfish place. That's absolutely right. What else you been up to, Evelyn? You like
I know it's been a while. What have I been up to? It's just been like a super busy time. Just because like I work for oh, Marina, are you there? Oh, there. Yeah, okay. You were. I thought you had frozen because you were so still.
I'm being still just in case. I'm like,
I know, because it's always the worst when you freeze and it's like your face is in a weird position. Yeah, just because like I work for a Jewish publication and like the Jewish important holidays are coming up, and so like also because of that, like my work wants me to do like a comedy show in Chicago, so I've been planning that. I think that's going to be in October. Um, so yeah, I'm really excited about that. And then also just like trying to square away like when I'm seeing family this fall. I don't know. The main thing, like, the conversation Sophie and I just like keep having is like there's so many things we want to do this fall, and it's just everything is so expensive
it
right
is
now.
save your money. It's this writer strike has had its effect on me. Absolutely. I'm cutting back so much.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, you guys on the YouTube, I may be cutting back to once a month just because we give away so much free that I don't know if I can afford to do it anymore. So we may be going behind a paywall. I don't want to, but it's where I'm at. Sorry.
Yeah. I just think I've started to notice that with like the strike. I mean, it's been what? It's been over 3 months now, I think. Like,
Yeah.
I obviously, people were struggling before, even when they had work. But I think a lot of my writer friends are like, it's starting to hit a little bit more now. Especially now that like, I don't know, the fall is typically when like a lot of new shows start and it's like really exciting and like everything's at a standstill. So
But not for you, journalist.
not for me, but like my union is going into our contract negotiations soon. So I
Oh.
don't anticipate it being a problem. Like the company that I work for is like pretty small, so it's not like we're fighting against like the AMPTP or like the studios. I think it should be fine. But I mean, I will say, like going into my own contract negotiation, like it does feel like my union is in a position of power because
Hmm.
like people like I think I saw a report the other day that like 72% of Americans like support the writers and SAG strikes. So it feels like there's
That's
momentum
good.
behind it, and like my union feels empowered to like maybe make bigger asks than we would previously because we know that like we have support, which is really nice.
That is nice. And I didn't know that percentage. That's a good number. Thank you for that. Because I
Yeah.
was getting this feeling like everyone thought we were just like rich movie stars.
I thought that too. And then I saw like it was like after Adam Driver, I think, was at the Venice Film Festival, and because he was in an indie movie, so he could like promote it, and he like said some things in support of the strike. And then I think I saw related to that they had like polled people, and it was pretty high that people supporting the strike.
I think that's also because, like, and I've said this on the podcast every week, everyone is, we just came from Labor Day. It's
Yeah,
everyone's striking. Everyone is, you got Starbucks,
yeah,
UPS, they settled theirs, and it's just nurses, American Airlines.
it's
Like, no
crazy.
one's happy as an employee.
Well, it's just
Uh,
it's so like it's just like no matter like I am very fortunate that like I have a very stable job and I have a stable like paycheck that comes in. And even that is like I'm doing generally fine, but like if I were to like whatever reason like get laid off, like have to stop working if I, like God forbid we're in some like accident, I need to focus on my health, like whatever, like then I wouldn't be okay. And it just like workers should not like have to fear that like one missed paycheck, like they won't be able to pay their rent, they won't be able to get groceries. It's just the way like the economy is working right now is just not sustainable, I don't think, and it's not fair to workers.
yeah, it's not fair to workers on so many levels. That's why my mom wanted to go to Canada for the holidays, and I said, something about flying internationally during a time when there's not enough pilots and there's a looming strike tells me, and we just
Mhm.
they just had I don't know, forest fires and maybe not a
Yeah.
good time. And it's
Yeah,
cold.
not a good time. And also, did you see that story about that plane that like was flying at like
Yes.
Atlanta to Spain, and they had to turn it around because someone had diarrhea all over the plane?
I saw it. I saw it and I could not.
It's my
And I
worst
don't
nightmare.
understand why they were they running back and forth, pooping their pants. I don't
I don't know. It
like I
sounds
saw the like the trail of like
yeah,
Weeby pads or whatever it was, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then, not to mention, like, we just this is sad, but in Morocco, this
yeah,
earthquake that they're not even used to having there, like, I don't mean to be like gloom and doom, but it is storming outside, so it does help. But
yeah,
it's like flying in turbulence has been a thing lately that keeps popping up in the news cycle. And
yeah,
I have to fly, so I can't like not fly, but
yeah.
I'm thinking twice about it. I'm hesitating a little bit because I'm like not sure like
Mhm.
what this turbulence, because there's like like unexpected, you saw that one where there was like unexpected turbulence
Yeah,
and people were like sent to the hospital, and it was just like random very heavy turbulence, and they attributed
yeah,
to possibly the hurricane.
yeah.
But this climate change that's happening is very scary. Like, I don't know like where to go.
Yeah, I
Like, where
know.
where can we hide? There's no, because it's like that whole thing about a threat to injustice is
Yeah,
anywhere is a threat to injustice everywhere. It's like, guess what? A threat to global change anywhere is a threat to global change. It all comes together.
yeah,
So we
totally.
can't really ignore what happened, and people choose to. People turn off. I
Yeah,
get it. It's too much. It's overwhelming.
yeah,
But we cannot, because I don't know about fossil fuel. I don't really understand it. Do
yeah.
you?
I like kind of, but not really. Like I understand it to like the degree that like my girlfriend like works for a company that like electrifies buildings. So they like take out like heaters that use oil or like fossil fuels and put in like electricity, which is, green energy and clean and whatever. So like I somewhat understand a little bit from that, but for the most part, no. It's like really confusing and like hard to talk about it. But I just know that it's like bad. And also like it's always like inspiring to me to see all these like really young people like speaking out about the environment, like Greta Thunberg, that young person from Sweden, I think.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also kind of like, why are we making all these little kids do that? Like, why are like, you know, like adult scientists not, you know, being more upfront and like,
I think they're trying, aren't they? But like
yeah,
Congress, it's always Congress.
it's always
It's always those
Congress.
motherfuckers. You
Yeah.
know, I was wondering. Oh, I just lost my point. It's gone. It's gone.
I was wondering, and you'll continue to
Oh,
wonder.
seatbelts. Oh, DJ Eric Prince says, keep your damn seatbelts on. Like, the thing is, I think that was not expected, but that's what they're saying is now this is why. Do you remember usually they would turn off the seatbelts? Now they
Yeah.
kind of keep it on all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, got my point.
Oh,
It's
nice.
back. Why? So last night I was at the Stand Comedy Club talking to Jay Okerson, who I've not seen in a very long time. And he
Mhm.
reminded me of how we went to, and I talked about this on the podcast actually, because we were talking about Lizzo and the Amsterdam
Yeah.
trip and the banana issue.
Yeah.
And we were all there. Me, Jay Okerson, Joe DeRosa, Rachel Feinstein, Dove Davidoff. We were all there for a show. And we went to one of those live, they call them live sex shows in Amsterdam. They had
Oh,
that in
wow.
the red district or
Yeah, yeah. Red light district.
red light. And they had that banana thing. But I do remember I was talking to Jay about the flight over. It was
Yeah.
horrible. It was,
Oh,
he goes,
really?
Marina, that, and Jay flies all the time. He goes,
Yeah.
that had to be the worst flight ever. And the worst part about it was that no one said anything.
Oh, really?
So, you know, like when you're going through heavy turbulence,
Yeah.
or sorry again about the freezing, it'll clear up soon. Sorry. But you can still hear us. Even when you're on a train and it's just sitting there, which I sat for 12 minutes on the train and they raised the prices, but it seems like it's gotten worse for some
Yeah.
reason. Since they've raised the prices, things have become worse on
Yeah.
the subway. That no one said anything while we sat there. And that's how people panic. I
Yeah.
don't understand why they think that by not saying anything, you're making people like calm. That's not what's happening. It's the
No, yeah.
You
Not at
gotta
all.
say something. And then Jay reminded me, like after that turbulence, and it was horrible. Like Rachel was crying.
Oh my God.
Yeah, we're over the Atlantic Ocean, and it was horrible. Even the stewardesses were like upset.
Oh my
So
God.
that's when you know, right?
Hmm.
But after it cleared up, pilot said nothing. Like, oh, we got through that. Not a damn thing.
That's, yeah, no, that's not okay. Like the whole point of like the captain beyond, you know, flying the plane is also to like bring a sense of like to keep things in control. And you need to talk to people to do that.
TB, you want to know where I'm at home.
Is the like orientation like flipped on your camera? Because it looks like normally your door is like on the other side, I think.
Oh, you know what it is? I mirrored it.
Oh, that's so funny.
So it's
Yeah,
over here, right?
yeah, it's over there. Yeah,
It's usually over there.
it's usually on the other side.
Oh yeah, I decided it to make that was my one change, and then I'll
I
leave this
like to mirror
company.
it. I don't like to when my face isn't mirrored. It's like so unnerving for me to like look at my own face.
My shirt's backwards.
It is, yeah.
Do you guys want me? Oh, okay. Maybe I should redo it, but you know, you never know. Let's see here. Mirror. Let's see. Unmirror. Is that better?
It
Does
looks quote unquote normal
Do you
now.
guys feel better?
It's so funny.
This is the last of the flowers. Look at that.
They're so pretty.
Now Ari is on here. Ari is my assistant for Friends Like Us. We've dwindled it down to one superstar. That's Ari. She does an excellent job.
Oh, that's great.
I brag about her all the time because she is so amazing. Thank you, Ari. and she's on here. So I just wanted to say, speaking of flowers, I'm gonna give you your flowers. All right.
Oh, that's lovely.
This week on Friends Like Us, just to mention before, just got, he hasn't showed up yet. That's interesting. But before that guy shows up, we talked about artificial intelligence great deal on this week's episode. And also the last week's episode, we talked about dating and AI and the effects of it on dating apps, which was really interesting. If you are not listening to Friends Like Us podcast, this is not the actual podcast. This is me going live to promote the podcast, just so you know. Okay. A lot of people think this is the podcast. And if you wanted to, that's fine. But the meat and potatoes part of what I do is the Friends Like Us podcast, which is audio only. And sometimes we put clips, and sometimes you could see it live by going to our Patreon page and subscribing. Now,
and it's not just Marina and two white people.
Yeah, it's me and it's women of color, and we talk about hot topics and we get into it, or topics. It's hilarious story.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the Hamptons last weekend working. I don't have a home in the Hamptons. It sounds so fancy. And after my show, the woman is one of the head writers for The View.
Oh, wow.
And she invited me to her house the next day. She said Joy Behar is going to be there. And I was so excited. I went with my glasses on like this. I don't perform in my glasses. These are my actual glasses. I don't perform in my glasses. And she wanted me to perform. I go, I don't perform in my glasses. I just don't.
Yeah.
But I started to talk and I brought up the podcast. And Joy was not like at all into
Oh no.
Like at all.
Oh,
she was just like looking away, and I go, Joy, and she looks up, and I go, just so you know, we got the hot topics idea from The View, and of course we don't want to steal that idea, so we just called it topics.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was not really.
Was she like nice otherwise?
A little. Like when we talked about politics, I mean, she's very like she is on the show. She has smart comments like all the time. I actually told her that. I said, your sassiness on the show makes me laugh. When we started talking about politics, she piped up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But
that's interesting.
She told me to keep doing it. I've been, as a comic who's been doing it for over 20 years, when a comic that you actually look up to, it tells you to keep doing it. It hurts.
Yeah.
Not the nicest thing.
Yeah, that's a bummer. I'm sorry.
Well, what are you going to do? People are people.
Yeah.
I still like her. I'm hoping that maybe have her on the podcast, and then I'll tell her how she made me feel. I've had so many hot flashes today. I was at the farmer's market and literally was drenched.
It's been so humid lately. It's been the worst.
People were looking at me like, are you okay?
Oh, I hate that. Because I run fairly hot. So like if it's humid and then like I'll go outside and come back in, I'll get like a little sweaty. But yeah, people stare at you. It's like it's just sweat. I'm fine.
It was a lot of sweat though. Ugh. And then I at this one woman, she goes, well, I guess it's hot outside. It's humid. I go, no. This is from the inside. She goes, oh
no.
She goes, I'll be there someday. I go, yes, you will.
Yeah, you will. It's so funny. My mom says that to me too, because she also gets like very intense hot flashes. And like every time I'm with her and she does, she's like, this will happen to you one day.
Dave is running late, which is fine. It just, the only reason I'm worried is because he does help us from freezing. That's the only thing. But we will, just to remind you guys, we probably will go down to once a month doing this live, just because my schedule's gotten busier on the Saturdays. And I give so much away for free that I'm thinking about putting this behind a paywall. And I know that's kind of an asshole move, and I apologize, but it's just kind of what I have to do right now while there's a writer strike going on and actor strike. There's no work coming in like that. And so how it's trickling down is also my road work is being affected by some of the other people. It's a lot of people out here who would normally be in writers' rooms or acting.
Yeah.
They're taking those spots. So
Yeah, I've heard that too. A friend of mine, Skylar Higley, who's a really great Chicago comic, who I think actually is moving to New York soon. He was like, yeah, it's just a lot of not great. like they're funny like writers and like actors, but people trying stand up for the first time and they're not good, but because they do other things, they can get booked.
they get booked and they fill rooms.
Yeah.
Speaking of um, assholes, Jimmy
Fallon,
Fallon,
yeah.
what's going on? Like I've always known he's had a drinking problem. This has been discussed amongst the comedy scene,
Yeah.
but I didn't know it was affecting his employees.
I didn't either, but it's not totally surprising to me. It just seems like this is like a wildly generalizing statement, but for the most part, it comes across that like the, men late night hosts, which is just, late night hosts because there have only been a few women and they hadn't had shows for that long. Um, like it's just the way things operate in late night, which is so unfortunate and so sad. But yeah, it's not surprising. I read the story and I was like, oh, this is like horrible and shocking, but also it's like kind of not shocking, to be honest.
Nothing's really changed. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Like assholes are still gonna be assholes. Things, programs, and what they. Have you noticed we haven't frozen in a while?
I know.
Maybe. Oh no, I spoke too soon.
Oh no. No one
um.
was listening.
Yeah, but like these. I mean, work environments are always going to be somewhat toxic when you're
Yeah.
trying to, create something that is very good. There's always, you always find out at the end of the day that there is like this high stress toxic environment behind it.
Yeah.
I don't want to say who, but I know a couple of people who've worked on Saturday Night Live who was like it changed them
Yeah.
and they wish they had never. I remember when I was auditioning for it, they were like, I just kind of don't want you to do the show.
That's what like I've heard people tell my friends who have auditioned for it. They're like, I don't want you to like I love you, but I don't want you to get this because it's too much.
They always look shell shocked afterwards.
I know.
There's a look.
I know the fact that like I feel like um all the people from SNL are basically like touring and doing stand up right now and doing shows right now. And I
Yes.
have to say they look very healthy
Yeah,
and
they look
like vibrant because they're not like staying up to 5 a.m. every night and like eating poorly and like doing these high stress shows.
Oh, let's see. Mike Dick. The Fallon thing was weird following his thing with the Stones' new album. Note, they kept the old guy separate from the young women in the video. Really? I didn't see that.
I hadn't heard about the new Stones album. The other thing I'd seen on social media about like comedy was that someone wrote this like Slate article, which was basically like hating on Martin Short and was like, Martin Short is so overrated, blah, and not funny at all. And so then people on social media were like, actually, he's very funny. Here are like our favorite clips from him. And he's also apparently like a lovely person. So people have been like sharing their stories with like meeting him.
I think I did do a show with him in, I forgot where. I think it was in Montreal, and he's just eccentric,
Yeah. Yeah. He's a weird guy.
And so, but very friendly.
Yeah.
And I think people need to be like, social media. Speaking of, like,
Yeah.
I did an impersonation, and I've also talked about house music on Godfrey's podcast recently. Can I tell you? People went in. They are so divided by just about anything you do on social media. People just are triggered on a level. I don't think you can always get a consent. I don't think, maybe Dolly Parton is probably the only one who may, and I think they even tried to give her something, but the problem even with the Jimmy Fallon story is that it's all starting to trickle down to just little things that people do. And they go, well, you did this. Or like even the Lizzles, it's like
Yeah.
there's legitimate stories, but then we're starting to really pick at people in certain ways, at celebrities in certain ways that we're forgetting they're human too, that these people
Yeah.
make mistakes. These people have drinking problems. These
Yeah.
people have anxiety. These people have mental disorders, even.
Totally.
And so, are we saying that we're all clear of that and we're all so perfect? But it was so funny because the internet loves to clickbait people into
Yeah.
these conversations. Like the post that they put up on Godfrey's podcast of me, the way they clipped it
Yeah.
was on purpose to create that type of divisiveness and conversation. And it worked,
Yeah.
and I had
Oh,
a
for
friend who
sure.
was like, oh my God, Marina, they're upset with you. I go, that's not real.
Right. It's like it's out of context. People, yeah, the job that I work for, like I don't directly do social media, but I, kind of work around social media, and people will find any small thing to get upset out. And like there are times on social media when people get upset and it's like warranted. But just being online all the time, I think, has made people meaner. It's made them more judgmental. It's made us
Yeah.
less discerning. Like people fall so easily for like fake news and misinformation that's
Fast.
online. They just see something online and they automatically assume it's true without checking the source or looking for other sources to confirm that. Yeah, it's just people will fall into clickbaity traps so easily nowadays. One, because they want to complain or want to someone to be mad at, but also because they can't tell that it might not be true or might not be the full story. And it's just it's not a great, like, it doesn't say a lot of great things about like people and like humanity, that's what people are like now.
Yeah, and also I'm finding like the AI situation is going to make this a lot worse.
Oh, for sure.
Um I actually to we when we talked about artificial intelligence on Friends Like Us, it was we had Aunt Pruitt on, who
Yeah.
listens to the show. He's a fan of the show, and he actually made some pretty good points for it, right? And, I mean,
Yeah.
there's always like, and his point was very simple. Was like, not all of it is gloom and doom. You
Yeah.
got to find like there's no conversation about what's good about it in the middle. We always like it's either
Yeah.
good, it's either really bad. And I was like, well, it's also the people who created it. They kind of scared us because they were like
Yeah.
quitting everywhere. So that kind of, I don't know, that was making me nervous. And then the fact that the reality is that there are going to be jobs lost amongst people of color.
Yeah.
But I will say, I love it. Because I've been using Descript for the podcast. It's
Oh, yeah.
saving me like 5 hours of work.
Oh, for sure. That's like I totally agree with that, and like agree with Ant's point about there can be like an in the middle feeling about it. Yeah, like I transcribe interviews for my work a lot of the time, and I use like an AI thing that like automatically transcribes it. And like I have to go back and check for like, making sure that like it didn't transcribe a word wrong or, whatever. But like I think AI, the use of it should be doing like really menial, like long tasks, like nothing creative. Because like I
Yeah.
think the point of it should be like doing things that like humans like don't like want to do and isn't, like
It
it,
frees you up to do other things,
exactly, exactly.
which
Um,
is what he was saying, which is like another way of looking at it, and then he said there does need to be guardrails,
yeah.
and there does need to be people of color in the room,
Hmm.
which there's not a lot of them in that room.
No.
But
Yeah, because the thing with like software engineering is like it's not objective. Like people's biases get programmed into things. So if it's just a room full of white people, then like white people's biases will be programmed into the AI. So like that needs to be, there need to be guardrails there. Totally.
I love what TB is saying here. I always wait a couple of days whenever something blows up on the net. I figure everything is BS until it turns out it isn't. doesn't happen to not be as BS. Yeah, there was a there was a woman who was upset about a guy hitting her in the face with a brick. And she was like,
Oh,
where were all these men? Like, they didn't help me, and black men ain't supporting black women. It became this whole huge debate about
yeah.
black men not supporting black women off of this clip.
Yeah.
And then someone showed more of the clip of her
Oh my God.
slapping the shit. I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing because she did get hit. And she had the swollen, but she was instigating, and she was twerking, and she was so you gotta I just say, people, take a deep breath before you respond on social media. The people here don't need to hear this. You're all like on the right page, but take a deep breath. I mean, the way people argue too is I used to get really upset about the comments.
Yeah.
I don't anymore. I just look at it and it just looks hilarious to me. It's like, you guys don't you have jobs? Don't you have things to do? You're occupying your mind space arguing over whether my Bill Burr impression was too high. I'm
Yeah.
a female. Hello. And it's so funny because and the men are going back and forth. They go, you need to watch early Bill, because the content of how I said it was really funny, because I go, it's early Bill Burr, which is part of what made that funny.
Yeah.
And someone goes, have you seen Bill Burr 12 years ago? He spoke that high.
Yeah.
So it's like, but it's so funny to see them going back and forth. I'm like, you guys, it's just like, even in the video, I say, oh, I don't want to do this impression. I go, I don't want to do it. And he makes me do it. And then in the house conversation, it was actually perfectly captioned that I say, this is to people who aren't in love with house music like myself, it can look weird. When did the word weird become this horrible thing? Everyone was like, she said it looked weird. And then we're like, Detroit. And it became like Detroit house music and Chicago house music. I was like, you guys, you're acting weird.
That's so funny that you started discourse in the househead community.
Oh my God. It was Godfrey called me. We were dying laughing. It was so funny because it was like they didn't watch the whole video.
Yeah.
They didn't see me shouting out DJs that I love.
Yeah.
Female DJs that I love. They didn't see how much and then one person went a whole paragraph in defense of me. Marina is a full supporter of house music. She's a house head. How dare you?
That's
someone
so
called
funny.
me up from the house community. Hey, Marina, they coming for you, but I got your back. I was like, I don't give a shit what's going on. I said what I said. I'm on a comedy, podcast. We're having a good time. Ooh-wee.
I think that's a healthy way to look at the comment section, because it can be like really easy to like get down when people are, blowing up there, but they're overreacting.
All right, let's let the man, the myth, definitely not the legend, David Juskow, everybody. Hello.
Hi.
How are you?
I was trying a new computer because I saw you guys were in a bad place, so I thought I'd try something else, see if it better. But it did fix it. You guys are in.
I think it's the program. I just, like I said, I was saying earlier, I'm old, so I just got to get to like trying something new. And we were talking about like Descript, which is an amazing program for like editing. I didn't want to do Descript for a while because I'm so used to using Audacity, but I challenged myself on my old behavior, and I said, do Descript, just try it. It's saving me like 5, maybe 10 hours a week.
Incredible.
So maybe I'll go to not maybe. I will be leaving this platform soon.
Oh, good. I'm going to go back to my old. I just want to see. I bought this new computer because because that other one I had used, which was so horrible, and I had to go to my work one. I want to make sure it's good streaming because I'm having some really good guests come to my class.
Oh, like who?
Well, the guy that wrote Back to the Future, Bob Gale, is coming in next week. And
fun.
When Paul Rudd was here, like my computer was ruining it. It kept pausing and stuff. So I'm hoping it was the computer, and I bought a new one to hope that it's better. I hope
it seems clear.
pretty good. I know the lighting is, but that's just my fault. But yeah, I'm
Your
hoping
lighting is fine. I mean, it's actually you're too clear.
I just wanted to go just streaming correctly, so it looks like it's okay. I'm gonna go back to my other one. Okay?
No,
No, you want
no,
me to
stay. This
Okay.
is fine.
Okay.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Are you going to Sarah's party? A quick question.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know of any party.
Okay.
Are you out of your mind?
Not her party. Are you gonna go to her luncheon?
I'm going to California, but I don't know
Oh.
anything about a party.
Oh, okay.
You're keeping
Seriously,
it
are
on
you out
the
of your
DL.
mind? Do you know how much trouble I'm already in?
No. What did you do?
You're in trouble with Sarah?
Never supposed to mention the party.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Well, you should know now.
Well, maybe it's you. It's probably you. You're freezing all of a sudden.
Yeah, I see that too. But no, it's you should be careful.
Okay. You be careful.
Just being honest with you.
Well, they want to know, do you have a Bill Burr impression?
No, I don't even know what he does. I've never seen his act.
Oh, there it is. Hey. What have you been up to? I haven't spoken to you in like I said to you, I haven't spoken to you in like way too long. Are you okay? Are you mad at me? What's going on?
No, I had COVID. I told you that, I think.
You had what did you say?
Like a month ago I had COVID, or 3 weeks ago.
The
I
two
also
of
had
you
COVID 3
finally
weeks
got
ago.
it.
The what?
I also had COVID like 3 weeks ago.
Oh, you did too?
Mm-hmm.
You got it before too, right?
No, this is my first time.
Oh, that's your first time too. Oh, I guess it's clearly going around. Did you have the same thing I had, which was like pretty much 48 hours of a flu? Now I had it coming because I partied too much on my birthday for the 4 days, didn't get any sleep. That's how I get sick all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, I deserved it, and I didn't catch it from anywhere except being an idiot. And so I had about 48 hours of a fever, some aches in my arm, and a little tiny bit of a sore throat, very tiny, and a runny nose. And it really went away in exactly 48 hours. But then a week and a half still, I was getting tiny headaches, in which I believe if I had not drank enough water or something, they would have gotten worse.
Yeah.
Obviously it's hot, so I don't know, but I could just feel there was a difference. And I was trying to take it easy.
That's generally like the symptoms I had. I was like, I only had a fever for like a little bit of a sore throat, runny nose. I didn't get like headaches after, but Sophie, my girlfriend who also got COVID, did. But like they went away. I think after like 5 days.
Well, it just lasted a little longer than I thought. Like the headaches. Like I feel like the COVID lasted much longer than what I was feeling. Where I couldn't go anywhere because I was a little down.
Yeah.
And then like really 3 days after it was done if I caught it on Monday night of, my birthday, I was totally in good shape for Friday. And then, but I still want, somebody asked me to go out on that set. I'm like, let me just hang out. I don't want to relapse because I know that's a thing.
Yeah. I've heard that like it's worse when like you don't give your body enough time to rest and like fully recover. Like then you can get like long-term effects from COVID.
Yeah, but otherwise, Marina, I really wasn't doing. I just started the classes, so I was very uptight about making sure everything was set to go. Because like a student, I waited to the last minute to put everything together.
Oh my God.
I don't know why. I mean, I had all summer to do it, and I guess that's what other teachers do too. Meanwhile, they asked me to, teach some more courses, and in the spring, I'll be teaching my 3-credit course, and they told me, well, here's what we'd like you to do, and it's a expanding of what I've been doing. So it would be Clueless, time travel, 5 weeks apiece in one course. And the third one is 80s movies.
Of course.
And I'm like, you're going to pay me for that?
You found your calling, Dave.
Clearly. Yeah. I did. I'm sorry. I got some work I got to do.
Oh, here he goes. Look at him. Whenever he's focused, it's hilarious. There's two things that Dave has a face that just you can just it's a fun face. I was going to ask you guys about what you thought about the cast member who was convicted of rape from
Danny Masterson.
what's the show?
That 70s show.
That
What
70s
show?
show?
That 70s show.
Oh yeah, Master. And I saw Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis.
Yeah, they wrote him.
And also Deborah Jo Rupp and Kurtwood Smith too.
Yeah, they wrote a letter of support. I don't know if it was support, but maybe
it was pretty. They sounded pretty supporting. I think Mila Kunis was like, he's a good role model. I don't know. I mean, like, it's not a good look for.
Do you think it's because he has kids though?
Oh, I don't know if he had kids. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess that would, like, I could see them doing it if, like, for his kids.
Yeah, because when it's a court situation, so what they were saying was that the child will be left fatherless, which, you know, maybe don't rape.
Yeah.
But let's see what they were saying. Like, there could be a legal reason why they wrote that letter. It is interesting because this does remind me of the time when Louis was like being, you know, his situation, and the comedy scene was very divided.
Yeah.
In a sense, because people are friends with Louis and just didn't know how to be a friend to someone who's done something, you know, considered to be bad in the public eye. Someone that you've known, you know, you've known for a long time. It's kind of hard to just shut it off and be like, no, you're bad.
Yeah.
Yep. Let alone that in Louis' particular case, we kind of knew, you know, the stuff he used to do. And like, we kind of knew about all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we didn't care because, you know, he wasn't doing anything really bad. It's just, I guess some people didn't understand, I guess. I don't know. But I got something about that Ashton Kutcher thing. What you're saying. So you're saying that they might have done it legally to help themselves instead of
because they have to read to the judge. So I was reading this. So it says in their letters. So okay. Oh, I don't want to read the whole thing because I suck at reading. Married couple Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis, who starred on that show, the 70s show, with Masterson, both begged Judge Charlene Olmedo for leniency. So that's what I'm thinking, for their friend in their notes. So they're not like excusing it. They're asking for leniency, with Kutcher and Kunis both calling Masterson, now this is the thing, a role model, and citing that he had exceptional character. And in their letters, both actors noted what they say was Matterson's dedication to stay away from drugs and to keep others away too. They also spoke of his friendship, honesty, and work ethic. While I'm aware that the judgment has been cast as guilty on 2 counts of rape by force and the victims have a great desire for justice, I hope that my testament to his character is taken into consideration in sentencing. I do not believe he is an ongoing harm to society, and having his daughter raised without a present father would be a tertiary, I can't say that way, or tertiary injustice in and of itself. So
that kind of thing, it's like, well, first of all, like, my thought is like the fact that like it's so hard to convict people of like rape, the fact that they were able to convict him on 2 counts, I think lends itself to the idea that they probably have some pretty strong evidence to support the case, which like kind of then leaves a bad taste in my mouth that all these celebrities are publicly asking for leniency and saying that he's a good role model and like lives a drug-free life, when it's like, okay, but like doing drugs, if like, you know, it's not the same level of like not raping someone. So yeah, I think it's like, obviously like it's unfortunate that like his daughter is affected by this. She didn't do anything wrong, and that sucks. But at the same time, it's like, I don't understand like why him being a father would mean that like he like would get, you know, preferential treatment. like these, like the people he hurt are like, they could have kids, you know, they could like be, they're like daughters and, you know, sisters, whatever, like their family isn't, you know, didn't give them special treatment for, you know, not having this not happen. So
Was he drugging women like Cosby? I don't know exactly. I mean, I know he was
I
accused
don't
of rape,
think
but
so.
does anybody know the circumstances? You know,
I don't think so. I don't think there's a difference really. That's the thing. A rape is rape, you know, whether it's a drug, you know, maybe in the eyes of the court, because it's like with drugging someone, you have a sort of like, listen to me. I love acting like I'm a lawyer. Because like with drugging someone, I guess you have a intention to commit a crime, kind of like what Trump is doing, where he's hidden those documents. He's showing that he showed intent. But like you said, Evelyn, it's so hard. I don't think they've put everything out. We don't know all the information as well. We shouldn't really. I mean,
Yeah, I don't want to know.
It's not for public consumption, that stuff. I think we have to trust our judicial system on some level, even though it's kind of crazy right now. But
you know, this is kind of interesting. I years ago in my building, there was a doorman who was a mess, and you know, he stabbed somebody and went to prison for a while, and then they were going to have him come back. And you know, that he was a nice guy, but I also knew all these other things he was doing in the building because I had a very good relationship with the other guys. And he was stealing from the building. He was stealing like TVs. He knew where the cameras were. He was doing so much drugs. He was throwing up in the basement and stuff. And it was worse than I'm even letting you on. And the other people in the building didn't know. All they knew is that he went away for a while and they didn't know why. And that they wanted to get him back because he was extremely charming and a very nice person, technically, if you didn't know the other stuff. And so I actually went to my boss who was the lawyer for this building and said, we can't have this guy back. I don't want to be a dick, but this is ridiculous. And everybody in the building thinks he's great. They all want him back. They're making a petition. And I'm like, you have to put a stop. And I told him everything. And the worst part is my friend Bob, who actually helped me get out of prison, was giving a thing like the Kutchers did to the judge because he didn't know the rest of the stuff. And then I told him, I'm like, oh, dude, he goes, oh, crap. I sent a letter to the judge and everything. Like I was like saying, or the building and saying we're on the back. And, you know, he didn't know the other side. And he's such a nice guy. I mean, the guy I'm saying that my friend who listened to it was trying to get him rehired. You know, a lot of people don't know the other side.
I see what you're saying.
The first thing I thought of when they were sending that thing, you know, the lead. I mean, you want to help your friend. Now they're long-term friends. You know, this guy wasn't my friend or anything, but you know, he used to come into my house and steal stuff right from my house. And
oh wow,
you know,
like what? The cherry, the Fruit Loops,
drugs. He knew where my drugs were.
Oh God,
my weed and stuff. You know, and I always told him it was okay because a lot of them, you know, I knew they had the keys and I knew they were coming in before the building was more corporate.
That's super illegal.
I used to have a very heavy relationship with my doorman. You know, they'd be in here a lot, and, you know, because that was back then when you paid them for Christmas, it meant something. And now it's not like that anymore.
Do you not pay them?
No, I do, but it's like, why? They don't even open the actual door.
They don't?
No, they don't. They sit there while you open the door with packages because I think they're afraid to just do anything because everybody's suing everybody and stuff. I don't know what the building has told them to do, but yeah, they just basically check in packages and maybe they'll remember to tell you have one downstairs. You know, really? That's all they do.
Not in Ryan Hamilton's building. Oh,
they used to come upstairs. Like I call them from work and be like, "Can you do me a favor? I left my keys. I was giving to somebody in my, you know, on the table in my kitchen," and they come up and, you know, take care of business for you. But now they're not even allowed to come up anymore without you.
I have like one friend who lives in a doorman building, and like the ones that I met have been, maybe it's just your build, or I don't know. So like the doorman in her building are like really lovely and like,
no,
I think she has that relationship. Yeah.
Oh, they're super nice. They just don't do anything besides being polite and saying hello. You know, and I'm telling you, used to get more for your buck, more bang for your buck.
More bang.
Okay.
Yeah,
I would.
and
I so
give
when
them
I
$20 to do stuff in your building, to make sure you're taken care of in a way. Like, oh, I have a friend coming in where now you have to like get it announced and everything. Like, could you just put them in the back and just like all that kind of stuff. It was seedy, but that's the way New York used to work.
I went to go I went to go visit Ryan Hamilton. His he lives like I'm not gonna say where, but it's a beautiful building. It's
Mhm.
one that like you go, oh my God. And my first question was, any black people in here? He was like, no, actually. He goes, there's an Asian woman. That's about it. And I was just thinking to myself, I go, God, sometimes New York can feel so diverse, and then other
Mhm.
times it feels really segregated on such an
Oh, for sure.
economic level. And, I don't know what the solution is, but I do feel like when there's a couple of buildings along Central Park West that just are exclusive to one, type of person,
Yeah.
it makes me a little angry. And I would love to have a doorman, because I told Ryan, I said, just so you know, because his doorman was so nice. And of course, I was with Lois, so she had a chat with an Irish guy who was also there. But the guy came out, opens the door. I saw him flag in a cab. He did open the door. I don't know. This door guy was doing all that stuff. He even went upstairs.
Well,
I
it
was like,
depends. I think they do that across the street at where Donald Trump Jr. used to live. I guess I have the lowest form of doorman building.
your doormen are on Section 8. Well, look, I no diss to Section 8, okay? But I do think like I miss, like someone wrote me recently, because I do so much for the building, that
Carl
do I
went to
want to
Mar-
organize a tenant union? And I said, not unless the tenants want to, because I'm tired of being the person. I
Yeah.
did a lot for this
Yeah, you got to be
building.
careful about that too.
Yes.
People that
Yes.
own the building could be, they hate that.
Oh,
Also,
I
it's like a
know.
second job. Like,
Like I said, the attorney I used to work for when I first got in here used to work for the building. And
Mhm.
it's not how I got in the building, ironically. It's just a coincidence. And when I first got here, I was going to join the Tenants Association because I just wanted to be like part of the action. And, I met my neighbors and they were really nice. And then he found out that my name was on there. He's like, are you out of your mind? I handle the other side, right? Then I was like, I'm never joining again, let alone they turned out to be insane.
Who?
The Tenants Association.
The tenants, because you know what the problem is, Marina, is that there are people in your building that aren't just like you and a little crazy. These people are a lot crazy, and they want things done that is going to affect you in a bad way, which you don't need done or want. These are people that can't wait to sue the building.
Oh, I
and
absolutely
get everybody on their side. So it's always a hidden agenda from the people that
Yes.
are organizing a tenants association. Be careful.
Yeah. Oh no, I absolutely understood that. And that's why I said to her, when I have individual issues, I deal with it. I said, and I think the community board is a better way to go. Also, there's so much high volume of people coming and going that
Right.
it's not really useful, because they're going to be gone and then I'm here because I've been here. So I don't want to ruin what I got.
Yeah.
I do wonder what you guys think about Airbnb and the fact that they're not allowing people to do that in New York City anymore. I think unless they're registered, which is going to prevent a lot of low income people from making the money off of property that they were doing. I mean, that's the real. I mean, there's an argument that is that it's protecting people who come into New York from being swindled into some shady Airbnbs. But what do you think about that? I'll go to you, Evelyn.
Yeah, I think generally, so this was like I first started to hear about issues with Airbnb, like actually like in the Hudson Valley, like around where I went to school, because it's a huge problem there that people will have like second properties and then use them, rent them out as Airbnbs, but then there's like no stock of like places for people to actually live. And it drives up like prices around rent. So it's not like affordable for people to live there. So I think generally like that's not a good thing. Like instead of like people having multiple properties, just have one and let, someone else live there. I haven't heard that much about it in the context of New York City. I think like if it's people, you know, like having multiple properties and renting them out. I think they're, you know, the housing stock here is just like everything's so expensive and there's not a lot of great options that, you know, I think it would be better just to like let people like rent or like live there. But I hear you. Like I know it's like a way for other people to make more income. So it's tough. I think generally more regulation around it is like a good thing because I have heard of people being swindled and like taken advantage of.
Well,
with
definitely in my
Airbnbs.
building.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you have no idea what you're doing. Because I have
People like
seen
rent Airbnb in your building.
it's the landlord.
Oh.
Yeah, and I don't think that's legal. I don't know if he's doing it properly. I know he's trying to get some value for
Mm.
a lot of these landlords are struggling because they have empty rooms, people who don't want to pay
Yeah.
for the rent or whatever, so they Airbnb it. So I in some way I kind of understand. Oh, watch your hair, by the way, it's hitting the mic a little bit.
Oh. Okay.
But then I see these people who are from like Sweden, and I'm like, I know you don't live here. I
Yeah.
live here, or I see them from they're speaking French. One time they couldn't get in the building. They were like, the key's not working. I was like, oh yeah, that's how it goes down
Yeah, that's what it's like here.
on the Frederick Douglass Boulevard. Okay. So I just feel bad for them because they don't know. They don't know, and they're probably, I don't know how much they're paying, but I think that like everything we're saying today, you got to put some guardrails up on everything, even with Airbnb. And I think Airbnb has been allowed to go kind of wild.
Yeah.
So DJ Eric Prince says, up capitalism.
Yeah. Well, I think also to your point earlier, like when we were talking about community, like the fact that like your landlord is like Airbnb-ing like all these, you know, units in the apartment, like it with people coming in and out, like not, you know, like living there permanently, and then also people like leaving, like it prevents like you building a community in the building and like having, you know, like knowing each other. So that's tough.
Yeah, there's only like a few in my neighbor across the way. There's a guy who who always brings my newspaper up. He's really nice, and he goes to house music festivals. I'm like, hey.
That's
Like
nice.
today, my neighbor who lives next door, I saw him out in the street this morning, and I was like, I've never seen you out of the building. This is weird. This is what you look like with like a different setting,
That's so funny.
you know? But Juskow, you brought up such a good point about like not everyone's normal. Because even when I did that whole thing with the Lido and did I say the name? Whatever. When I did the thing with the restaurant, I remember that the way that I argue a point is so different. And the one girl was just like, I was like, where are you going? Like when we were on the community board, this one woman, she was like, and she just was going into like a direction that I just knew right away they want to move on.
Yeah.
They want to move on. They're not listening anymore. And I was just like, oh, I don't want to be the manager of these people. Like, I don't want to do that. I don't have time for that.
When you're doing all that stuff, you know, the restaurant bothers you. Then there's people on the other side of the building who it doesn't affect at all. So,
oh no, it was affecting the other side. That's what happened.
There's people in the building it probably doesn't affect at all, that they don't care, and that's all I'm saying. And then, you know, when you join this association, which I don't think is your case, that everybody was involved, you just were like, let's get a couple people that the restaurant's bothering.
Yes.
But, you know, when you join a tenants association, then everyone's involved for the stuff that's only bothering you. And then it gets.
Yeah, like she had a problem with something too. Like when we would do the community board meeting, she had a problem with something that I was like, that absolutely is not my problem. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
But okay. The downside to Airbnb that TB is saying that I hear from a friend who tried it is getting the place clean enough for the next person, you know, so actually you lose money. Managing people, like, you know, I thought about buying like a home during the pandemic when the interest rates were low, and I was thinking about like what it would be like to just rent that out while I'm in New York. It would pay my rent, right?
Yeah.
It's not legal, but yeah. I mean, there's ways around everything. But the thing is, now that it's online, it's like they could go, she said it here, but I didn't do it. So, but the thing is like if I had done it, right, I'm still having to hire a company that has to clean that property. I have to, I remember a woman who was out there in Michigan City who was watching on her camera the ring.
Yeah.
Like she said, it was supposed to be 2 people staying at the place. It was a whole sorority.
Oh yeah, that happens all the time. Yeah.
So we were all having lunch and she was like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I go, what are you counting? She goes, the number of girls that are staying in my unit.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, wow. You have to do this now every weekend? She goes, every weekend. It's always something. And I had to think about that. Is that something that I want to make money? Like, I don't know if that's just not me. I don't want to manage people.
Yeah. I've heard that, like, I think generally, like, people using Airbnb are fine, but I have heard some like horror stories of like, like a whole sorority is staying at one place instead of like 2 people. And it just sounds like a nightmare having to like deal with like Airbnb support being like, I'm like, don't want them to be there anymore. Like it just sounds like too much to deal with.
I remember Modi telling me, he goes, it's someone one time, they do glitter everywhere. Glitter. You know how hard it is to get glitter out. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, yes, that would be a nightmare.
That would be a nightmare.
Glitter?
Yeah.
So not for me yet, but there are other ways to rent. There's like, there's the private way. You do it with just your friends, or like, I think you do like an exclusive like service for folks. So there's outside of Airbnb ways of doing things. What else is in the news is reality TV stars now have a shorter sentence. Of course they do. These are the ones that lied about their children's college.
Oh, interesting. I didn't realize that like people were still being charged with that.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Todd Chrisley of the Chrisley Knows Best goes from 12 to 10 years.
Oh, I think they also had something to do with like tax evasion or something.
Yeah, what, 10 years for just trying to get your kid into college? That's a bit much. Didn't that Felicity Huffman only have to do like 3 weeks?
I think she had like days.
They didn't do that. They did bank fraud.
Yeah.
Tax evasion.
And even that shouldn't be 10 years.
Yeah, but they've done longer with Black women who try to get their kids in school.
Yeah.
In different neighborhoods. Or just a little bit of marijuana, which is now legal. So, you know what? I don't have no sympathy.
Also, I've seen that show and they seem like genuinely very annoying people. They deserve it.
Like, give them 10 years just for being annoying.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
If that was the case, I'd be in jail forever. Hey-o!
Did you see this? The fan was booted from the U.S. Open after yelling something unbelievable. He just said the most famous
like
Hitler phrase.
The German one?
Yeah, he said, yeah.
Fuel people. There's a lot of nonsense going on at the U.S. Open this year.
Yeah, and then there are like climate protesters there the other day. They disrupted
his feet to the ground.
I know. And disrupted Coco Gauff's match. I mean, she still won, so it was fine. But
no, but still, you got to, I mean, you treat it like a rain delay, but still, it's totally unacceptable.
Super glued his feet to the ground?
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, so he could this is like a really common tactic with climate protesters now. They'll like go and like disrupt something, or like this happens like also when they like will like throw soup on paintings or whatever. They'll then like super glue their hands or their feet to like the wall so they can like continue shouting and like making a disturbance. And like there is like a very easy like way to like dissolve the like glue and so it doesn't hurt them. But it just takes a long time because usually like police don't just have that on hand.
Right.
That's a long time.
That's what I was saying. It's like, it's not like the ambulance carries around nail polish remover.
Right.
That's why it took 50 minutes to delay the match. Because I was wondering why I was watching the match at 1:30 in the morning because everything got delayed a match after that. So this guy, they ruined everything. If you're talking about the people that were yelling at the German guy, that I don't know what they were yelling, something like they say Hitler's like famous phrase or something.
Deutschland über alles. It was the like the name of the national anthem of Nazi Germany.
Did they say who the guy is? Did they identify the guy who was saying it and why he did it?
I don't know why he did it. They like identified who he was and they removed him from.
I saw that, but I didn't see anything else about it.
Yeah, I think he was probably just drunk.
You don't think he was Jewish and just yelling at the German guy?
I don't think so.
Because I didn't have a problem with that.
I guess this guy seems like fine. Like it's not like he was a Nazi.
No, I know, but it's just, they're very sensitive now, which is kind of hilarious.
Sure,
but he certainly is attractive, so I let it go. I mean, that guy is hot. Am I wrong?
Who?
You're not wrong. He's
The
attractive.
German tennis player is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, he's gorgeous.
I hear a little bit of self-hatred in that comment.
But I'm excited for Coco Gauff's the final because she's
in 5 minutes.
I think she's the youngest woman since Serena Williams to play or make the U.S. Open final. So I really
19, and she's playing in 5 minutes.
Oh wow!
Ooh.
Yeah, I always watch the women's. I never catch the men's because they play on Sunday during football season. Idiots.
Also, I just think the women are better.
Well, I've run out of topics.
Women's tennis is much more fun. I like women's tennis. It's better. Women's tennis, gymnastics, and volleyball and soccer is where you prefer to watch the women than the men.
Yeah, for sure.
I couldn't care less about women's basketball. I get nothing.
Oh, that's right. Thank you, Stace. It's been so long.
Yeah, I was just pulling them up.
It's been so long since I've done the live that I was like, well, I guess we're done. And Stace was like, hey, let me help you out here. Yes, go ahead, Evelyn. Give us some, because just to remind you, if you're watching this, we do this to promote my podcast, Friends Like Us. And the last couple of episodes have been fire. So don't miss it. Because the one on dating with Francesca Hoagie is so good. I learned so much and she's helped me. That's why I was able to go on the dates that I went on. And I was able to make some clear decisions because of her. And you will hear why dating apps are not helping you if you listen to that episode about how to find better love for a better future. Somehow I titled it. And then the one that's coming out this coming week is about artificial intelligence. We talked to an expert who does this. So his name is Ant Pruitt. Thank you, Ant Pruitt. Go ahead, Evelyn.
Okay.
Tell us.
Yeah, so this
Sorry, give you a little bit of.
So this first one comes from Apple Podcasts. Just a reminder to give Friends Like Us 5 stars and leave a review on Apple Podcasts. This is from Forage Francis, who says, warm-hearted show, 5 stars. Friends Like Us is a warm-hearted, funny, upbeat listen. Marina Franklin is the host. She gets wonderful, inspiring people, mostly from the entertainment and arts community, to interview and discuss the topics of the day. There's also relevant discussions of culture change in New York City, comedy of New York City and big cities. It's pleasant to hear a discussion that raises awareness and well-being. So that was really nice. And then this second one comes from Twitter from our good friend Sully, who said about the episode with Franny and Khalees Hawkins, said, a highlight of my week for nearly a decade is listening to the piano opening and the intro by Marina Franklin, knowing a great episode is about to start. So we'll see what happens this week.
And this week, you will hear the intro in my artificial intelligence voice.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah. And it's so funny because I've never done it before. And I know it's like, I'm going to regret this someday because someone's going to be like, Marina said that. Look, you can hear it. But you can hear the artificial in the voice.
Yeah, you can a little bit.
But you want to listen to that intro for this Wednesday coming up. Just listen to it. You guys will hear it and be like, whoa, it's insane. I had to read like 30 minutes of script in order for them to learn my voice, which is scary that I even did that. But and the script that they gave us was about like global change. I was like, can you pick something a little bit more happy?
Yeah, upbeat.
like upbeat. I was reading about how like a wolf was lost in the pack.
It's so sad.
Crazy stuff. So anyway, guys, we're gonna get out of here. I've got like 6 shows. Oh, Dave is happy. Football is back. Well, I
Yes,
don't know.
ma'am.
Do you have Spectrum? Because ABC is gone from Spectrum.
No, I don't have Spectrum. Spectrum's stupid.
You don't have Spectrum either, Evelyn?
No, I have Optimum.
Oh. I'm having a hard time getting rid of Spectrum because I like New York One.
Yeah, it's tough losing that. I would like to get that back. I often think about, maybe going back and getting it, but
do you miss New York One?
I do.
Just so you know, they lost someone, Michelle Boom. I think Rochelle Boom. Is it Rochelle Boom?
I think so.
Let me get it right. I want to get it right because
well, she died?
Yeah, and it was really tough. Because when I was hosting Rochelle Boone, when I was not hosting, when I was headlining in the Hamptons, the guy who was recording my show informed me that it was taking a turn for the worse after my show. And it devastated me because I had watched her. New York One is so New York. It gives you all the information, and I feel like I'm doing an ad for them, but it's so hard to cut the rope on that one because you get debates, you find out about politics. If you ever care about the community, it's a great place. It's a great home for New York where you find out what's really going on. Like New York, like Mayor Adams making that comment this week about the migrant crisis was like,
which New York City?
It's going to destroy New York City, which is like not mayoral.
No. Right. Well, he's just putting the message out that we're in big trouble and we need some help.
No, that's not mayoral.
Well, sometimes you have to use those kind of tactics.
He's not. No, you got to be a mayor, okay, to New York City, and you got to have some optimism, and you can have a better way of presenting things than that, because what you're doing is you're feeding the frenzy that's already there of people who are racist and who are saying things like, go back to where you came from. That's the problem with that comment. It seems simple. Like, we all agree there's a problem. We all agree that it's challenging. We all agree that we're seeing the destruction on some level. But for the mayor to say it, a Democratic mayor to say it, is so problematic. Get his ass out of office. That's all I have to say. He is so done in my book. I cannot stand this man. But if I see him in public, I will take a picture. I forgot what I was saying. I just got angry. No, Rochelle Boone. So I was just like, he came out, and being that she passed away from I believe it was pancreatic cancer, and she was on the show a couple of times the week prior. So I really thought she was in good like surviving this, and it was just so devastating.
So young.
Oh, 47.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, yes, TB. We'll go out on what you've said there. The strength of New York City has always been immigrants. Yes, it has. And we can, the thing is, we got to find a way. That needs to be the conversation. Like, what do okay, what are you going to do about it? Yeah. All right, guys. Where can our listeners find you, our viewers find you, Evelyn?
Yeah, you can find me on my Twitter at Evelyn G. Frick. You can also find things on my website, evelynfrick.com. At the moment, I don't have any upcoming shows, though I am currently planning a show in October, I think for the weekend of the 20th in Chicago. So you can keep a lookout for more information about that on my Twitter and on my website.
Nice. In October?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Great time to be in Chicago.
I know. I'm so excited.
Beautiful. And Juskow?
Yeah, no, I got nothing.
Where can they find you?
Nowhere. Just on this show on Saturdays.
All right.
Well,
We are going to, I don't know if you were here, but we're going to start limiting the number of times we do this a month, only because I've gotten busier and I can't afford it really. That's the only reason. And so we'll discuss it. Next week, we're going to be off to celebrate the New Year, the Jewish New Year.
Oh, that's right. I have to be off. Yeah.
And I am also 12%, which I brought up at that party that I was at with Joy Behar.
Oh, really?
Mercedes Rule was there. And I brought up that I was 12%. No one cared.
Nope.
No one. Marina. They were all like, good for you.
Marina, you just don't understand the struggle of being Jewish, man.
Oh my God.
But we will be back. I will let you know the date. We'll be back, and I'll let you know what we're going to do going forward. I know you guys are so loyal and so supportive. So if you want to email me any suggestions of how you would like to see the show going forward, please do. Ari, thank you for being on here as an assistant. You're wonderful. And yeah, I think that's it. Follow me at marinayfranklin.com. I have in October, I have an event called Silent Springs, which is in Boston, New York. Thanks to Sarah Silverman opening for Sarah, I have this gig, and it is involving breast cancer prevention.
Wow.
You know, things, items, stuff that you can. Did you just me? What the hell is wrong with you, mister? You got nothing. Okay. See, you could use a good cancer prevention, because I know your whole apartment is filled with things that cause cancer. I know it.
Probably right.
So it's a wonderful event. You will have to go to my website to find out those dates. And also I'm going to be performing at Soul Joel's, but just go to in Pennsylvania. But go to my website, marinayfranklin.com, for all dates. And definitely go to my podcast, Friends Like Us. This is not the podcast. This is the live where I promote it with my white friends, because that's useful in some areas of the world. So definitely go and listen to the podcast. You guys have a wonderful rest of your summer. Stay safe, wash your hands, and don't forget, Black Lives Matter.